A year ago, a white-haired cultivator appeared on the Immortal clan's land. This person, having undergone the Heavenly Venerable Ascension, started from the 5th layer and astonishingly broke through 17 layers, becoming the foremost among the transcendent Heavenly Venerables. He completely replaced the previous Nether Dao Venerable, truly standing at the peak below the Grand Heavenly Venerables. This person, with his white hair, became known as the white-haired Transcendent Heavenly Venerable, and his name was widely spread among the Heavenly Venerables. His name, Wang Lin. In the span of just 1 year, Wang Lin's name swept across the land like a storm. There wasn't a Heavenly Venerable who hadn't heard of him, nor a Transcendent Heavenly Venerable who didn't know him. Even the golden venerable ancestors of nearly all sects had heard of him. Moreover, aside from the ancestors, even sect masters, elders, and cultivators of similar ranks had heard of him. The Immortal clan had seen its 49th Transcendent Heavenly Venerable, and an individual who had broken through the 17th layer of the Heavenly Venerable Ascension. Rumors about him spread like wildfire across the Immortal clan's land. It was said that he possessed soul armor and had earned the recognition of the extraterrestrial spirit to an extraordinary degree. The rumors claimed that his cultivation was supreme, yet his personality was humble. After breaking through several layers, he had no intention to continue, but was provoked by the Nether Dao Venerable, who insulted him. In a fit of rage, Wang Lin pushed through to the 17th layer, completely crushing the Nether Dao Venerable beneath his feet. There were even rumors that the Ocean Child Heavenly Venerable admired him, but he coldly rejected her advances. More rumors suggested that he came from a small sect in the Eastern continent. So small, in fact, that most cultivators had never heard of it. One by one, these rumors continued to spread across the Immortal clan's land. Such a figure could not go unnoticed by the Grand Heavenly Venerables, who would certainly attempt to recruit him. Yet, Wang Lin turned down the offers from Dao Yi Grand Heavenly Venerable, Wu Feng Grand Heavenly Venerable, and even Jiu Di Grand Heavenly Venerable, instead choosing to align himself with the weakened twin Heavenly Venerables. Once this news spread, those who had heard of Wang Lin were baffled. New rumors emerged, sparking yet another storm of discussion. In the span of a year, it was said that Wang Lin had remained in the Violet Sun sect, never leaving. Many transcendent Heavenly Venerables, regardless of distance, traveled to the Violet Sun sect to seek him out and discuss the Dao. Those who had an audience with him returned with expressions of deep respect and reverence, some even choosing to remain at the Violet Sun sect, having gained immense insight from their discussions with him. The Violet Sun sect, thanks to Wang Lin, once again found itself in the spotlight. News of Wang Lin gradually spread through the 36 districts of the Gu clan, particularly reaching the Dao Gu clan. When this news reached Xian Luo, who was in seclusion, he opened his eyes. There was admiration in his gaze, and pride. He admired that Wang Lin had reached such heights in the Immortal clan, and he was proud because this person, Wang Lin, was a disciple he, Xian Luo, had discovered in the Abode realm. He should be returning soon. Xian Luo had not spoken to anyone about Wang Lin, not even to the Emperor of Dao Ancient. When this news reached the palace and the Emperor of Dao Ancient learned of it, he was still in the process of selecting a consort. One by one, the women brought from all over were trying to merge with the fragment of soul, but until now, none had succeeded. He had not given up, however, and was casting a wider net to find a woman who could merge with the soul. Upon hearing the news of Wang Lin, the Emperor of Dao Ancient did not immediately link him to the person he had once despised. Although he took notice, he didn't overthink it. His attention was focused on gathering all information about Wang Lin, knowing that this individual could very well be the 6th Grand Heavenly Venerable of the Immortal clan. Compared to the Immortal clan, the Gu clan had always been short one Grand Heavenly Venerable. If not for the Dao Ancient Grand Heavenly Venerable, who remained aloof from the 3 clans' conflicts, the Gu clan might have been wiped out by the Immortal clan long ago. The Dao Ancient Grand Heavenly Venerable lived on Ancient Peak Mountain in the Gu clan's territory. His cultivation was so extraordinary that he was undeniably the #1 in the Immortal Firmament Continent's 9 sons. Even the Immortal clan's former Great Heavenly Venerable of East Pool was no match for him. Notably, The Dao Ancient Grand Heavenly Venerable was the only person known to have killed a Grand Heavenly Venerable. His existence could be traced back to the time of the ancient ancestor. When he first became a Grand Heavenly Venerable, God had still been a mere Golden Venerable cultivator. After the disappearance of both the Immortal Ancestor and the Ancient Ancestor, the Immortal Clan and the Gu Clan erupted into a full-scale war. At the time, the Immortal Clan had 8 Grand Heavenly Venerables, while the Gu Clan had only 4. But when that war reached its peak, and the entire Immortal Clan almost breached half of the Ancient Clan's territory, the Grand Heavenly Venerable of the Ancient Path emerged from his seclusion. Alone, he went to the Immortal Clan. In front of countless immortals, he fought against 2 of the Immortal Clan's Grand Heavenly Venerables, ultimately killing both. Upon his return, he was ambushed by another Grand Heavenly Venerable of the Immortal Clan, but he also defeated this one. After this battle, the name of the Grand Heavenly Venerable of the Ancient Path shook the immortal firmament. As a result, the Immortal Clan had no choice but to retreat, bringing an end to the war. For countless years after, because the Ancient Path never returned to the abyss of oblivion, his presence continued to cast a shadow over the Immortal Clan. Even though the Immortal Clan now had another Grand Heavenly Venerable, they still dared not provoke him. There were even rumors that the Great Heavenly Venerable of the Eastern Expanse of the Immortal Clan was killed by him when challenging the Ancient Path. News of Wang Lin gradually spread throughout the Ancient Clan, protected by the Grand Heavenly Venerable of the Ancient Path, and his name was first remembered by many in the Ancient Clan. For a whole year, the Nether Dao Venerable seemed to have been forgotten, his influence gradually replaced by Wang Lin. Deep beneath the Central Plains Imperial City, in an immense underground palace, the Nether Dao Venerable, clad in black, sat cross-legged in a black pool of water. The water bubbled incessantly, emitting a black aura that enveloped the surroundings. In the pool, the Nether Dao Venerable's face was contorted in agony, his body trembling, but he never left the pool. He gritted his teeth and endured for an entire year. Wang Lin, Wang Lin. Whenever the pain reached its peak, almost unbearable, he would shout this name. In the depths of the underground palace, his roar echoed once again. You took everything from me. I will personally take it all back. At that moment, as he continued to roar, the black water in the pool churned even more violently. Black energy surged into his body through all 7 of his orifices, condensing in his bloodline, slowly changing it. Ancestral reversion art. Even the direct descendants of this emperor's immortal ancestor bloodline have never succeeded in cultivating it. When I recruited you back then, I promised I would help you obtain the immortal ancestor bloodline. A cold voice rose amidst the echoes of roars in the underground palace. From the rippling water beside the pool, the figure of the immortal emperor stepped forward. I promised you that I would fulfill it. This place is where the immortal emperor's lineage can have descendants who become Grand Heavenly Venerables. Cultivating here, you will have a bloodline. Whether you can complete the ancestral reversion art depends on the hatred and resentment in your heart. If you can endure, then you can revert to your ancestors. Revert to my ancestors. Revert to my ancestors. Wang Lin, I will kill you. The Nether Dao Venerable's face twisted in fury as he howled, but his eyes were faintly dim, as if his consciousness were slowly fading away. I will kill you, kill you. In the low growl of the Nether Dao Venerable, the immortal emperor, standing before him, smiled again with a strange grin. His eyes flashed, and he turned to leave. This generation of mine will recreate the glory of the immortal ancestor. That old Jyoti relies on his age. Once I succeed, I'll strike first. If he submits, no one will dare defy me. As for Dao Yi, this person is cunning and ruthless. His Grand Heavenly Venerable qualification should have gone to his senior brother, but he caused his brother's death to seize it. This kind of person, I admire greatly, and can make use of. Then there's Wu Feng. This person disrespects the immortal emperor's lineage. He should be killed, and his Grand Heavenly Venerable qualification taken. Let Dao Fei become Grand Heavenly Venerable. Dao Fei may be the emperor's younger brother, but I have invested much in him, and it's time to reap the rewards. Finally, the twin Heavenly Venerables. As long as they don't merge their souls, they aren't a concern. With a smile, The immortal emperor vanished from the underground palace. The roars and howls continued to echo. At the Violet Sun sect in the eastern continent, the land where Wang Lin, whose name had spread across the immortal firmament, resided, it was now the dead of winter. Feathery snowflakes fell, covering the land in a blanket of silver, obscuring the Violet Sun sect. In the past year, Wang Lin had only left his secluded place when the transcendent Heavenly Venerable came to visit and engage in discussions. Otherwise, he remained in one specific place, a forbidden ground within the Violet Sun sect. This place was called the Beast Summoning Realm. He had once vaguely seen it in his past, but after arriving at the Violet Sun sect, it had changed greatly. Sitting cross-legged at the edge of this Beast Summoning Realm, Wang Lin spent most of his time here in the past year. He could feel an invisible membrane in front of him. Beyond that membrane was the home he had longed for, where the familiar people, lands, and stars filled his memories. Lifting his right hand as if to place it on the membrane, Wang Lin's eyes revealed a touch of melancholy and nostalgia. The scent of home. Wang Lin sighed softly, closing his eyes. It had been a year since he arrived. He knew it was time for him to leave. In the distance, the sound of a silver bell-like laughter echoed. The young girl's innocent giggle carried with it a joy that brought a sense of peace to Wang Lin's heart. Little Biaozi, don't bully little wolf. You've already tricked him out of all his things. Little Biaozi, let's go down the mountain and trick people. It's so much fun. I beg you two little ancestors, please stop calling me Little Biaozi. It really doesn't sound nice. Lu Jinbiao said with a sorrowful face, pleading. After a year of silence, Wang Lin, immersed in the nostalgic air of his hometown, silently meditated, breathing in and out. His wood origin had already reached perfection, and he was very close to condensing his true body. His thunder avatar had merged with a special origin at Donglin's sect, and after this, there was no need for further understanding of this special origin. It was already enough. As for his 5 elements avatar, the wood origin was near completion of his true body, but the metal origin was still in its early stages, not yet fully perfected. Wang Lin knew what was needed, a fragment of the immortal extreme sword, and then the metal origin would reach full completion. Once the metal origin was perfected, even if it was not his true body, the 5 elements would merge into one, allowing Wang Lin's cultivation to jump from the mid-void tribulation stage to the late void tribulation stage, reaching the level of Golden Venerable. Lastly, there was the void origin. After understanding life and death, cause and effect, and truth and illusion, Wang Lin had realized the 4th void origin at Donglin sect, reincarnation. He had only grasped a trace of the reincarnation origin, like opening a new door and obtaining a seed of origin within him. He still needed to comprehend it again and again before it could fully mature. Golden Venerable cultivation is not difficult. What's difficult is the void origin. The Imperial city, it is where the immortal ancestor once left his mark. Perhaps there, I'll sense the aura of the immortal extreme sword. Wang Lin walked against the wind and snow, slowly fading into the distance. The journey from the Xiang sect in the eastern continent to the Imperial city in the central plains was vast. Even a regular cultivator flying at full speed would struggle to reach it, unless they used a teleportation array. As Wang Lin stepped forward, his figure was obscured by the snow, gradually disappearing into the world, using the art of shrinking the earth to an inch. With Lu Jinbiao and the sea dragon in tow, he left the eastern continent. Behind them, at the entrance of the Xiang sect, solitary Cliff Heavenly Venerable stood silently. Beside him were the 2 little girls, their eyes filled with reluctance as they gazed at the distant, vanishing figures. Will he come back? The little girl asked, her voice tinged with sadness. Will we ever see him again? Henin, the other girl, also whispered, her eyes following the distant figure. He should. I've already given him the jade slip. If he encounters an insurmountable crisis in the central plains, you will know immediately. This is our agreement with him, and when the time comes, the twin grand heavenly venerables will go help him. Solitary Cliff sighed softly, speaking slowly. Yes, that's for sure. Since little Wang Lin has chosen us, no one can bully him. The little girl looked at Henin, and the two nodded gravely. The Central Plains, the heart of the Immortal Clan's land, was vast and filled with the densest immortal chi. It was a land of heroes, and at its core stood the Imperial city. This city was so large it could rival a whole continent, boundless and infinite. It was the largest and most powerful city on the immortal firmament continent. Even the Imperial city of the ancient Gu clan's 36 prefectures could not compare to the immortal clan's city. This city was known as the Ancestral city across the entire immortal clan continent. In the Ancestral city, there was only one sect, the sect of the Imperial preceptor, Shang. This sect's legacy was passed down through generations, intertwined with the descendants of the immortal ancestor. When one suffers, all suffer. When one flourishes, all flourish. The sect had different names through the ages, corresponding to the reigns of different immortal emperors. After each immortal emperor ascended the throne, they would receive the loyalty of this sect. Once the immortal ancestor's bloodline awakened, they would inherit the title of the Eight Extremities Grand Heavenly Venerable and would be tasked with renaming the sect. This generation's immortal emperor, Lin Daozhen, had named the sect Dao Sect. The current sect master of Dao Sect, serving as the imperial preceptor beside the immortal emperor, was Shang Daoxian. Shang Daoxuan's cultivation was unfathomable, especially his power of divination, which was earth-shattering. With his alone, he could confront the combined strength of the three national masters of the ancient clan. The Dao sect's exact location in the Ancestral city remained a mystery. Few had ever truly found it. Over the years, many speculations had arisen regarding its location. Some said the sect resided in a void overlapping with the Ancestral city. Others said it lay in a spatial rift within the Ancestral city, its entrance hidden within the Imperial palace. There were even those who believed the sect was deep beneath the city's surface. Among these theories, one was perhaps true. The Ancestral city was divided into 4 districts: northeast, southeast, southwest, and northwest. The central region was a forbidden zone for the Immortal clan, where the Imperial palace stood. Only those with permission could enter this sacred ground. Among the 4 major subcities in the east, south, west, and north, there exist many mansions, each representing a powerful force. Though they are not sects, their influence surpasses that of most sections. The 4 greatest mansions, those of the 4 and 5th kings, are the most powerful, stationed in the 4 major subcities: the Li Mansion in the North City, the Luo Mansion in the South City, the Shan Mansion in the West City, and the Ming Mansion in the East City. These 4 are like towering giants, shaking the 5 states with their presence. Beyond these, there is a transcendent power in the Ancestral city that seems capable of rivaling imperial authority. This power resides in a mountain between the East and West cities, a mountain known as the Empire Mountain. Empire Mountain, a mountain, a person, and a grand heavenly venerable, God, the heavenly venerable Judy, are enough to make the entire Ancestral city and the Imperial palace feel like 1,000 mountains are pressing down upon them, suffocating them. The mysterious Dao sect is often speculated to exist to counter the growing pressure from Empire Mountain, which has begun to overshadow imperial authority. This is the structure of the entire Immortal clan's Ancestral city. Outsiders rarely know such intricate details. Only the Grand Heavenly Venerables can see it so clearly. During Wang Lin's time at the Violet Sun sect, he learned about the Ancestral city after the twin Grand Heavenly Venerables used the soul fusion art to extract this memory for him. The 5 major states of the Immortal clan are further divided into 72 smaller continents, creating slight seasonal variations. When the harsh snowstorm blows from the eastern continent to the central plains, it has already been months. This year, the first snow of the Ancestral city arrived. It was heavy, almost covering half of the city. The snowflakes falling at the eastern gate of the city made the scenery seem blurry, almost obscuring vision. Within this city, there are no mortals. It is one of the rare places on the Immortal clan's land where only cultivators exist. The dense immortal energy within the city has formed an almost divine pressure. Mortals simply cannot survive here. On this day, outside the eastern gate of the Ancestral city, a figure appeared across an endless plain, covered by layers of snow. This figure wore a cloak and a conical hat, walking step by step against the snowstorm. The hat obscured the person's face, but from the figure, It did not seem like an elderly individual, rather a young man. However, even in the fierce snowstorm, the weathered aura around him could not be blown away. As he gradually approached, about tens of thousands of miles from the ancestral city, the person in the cloak stopped. He slowly lifted his head, his gaze seeming to pierce through the layers of snow, fixed on the distant grand city. Immortal Emperor, Wang has arrived. Wang Lin looked into the distance, letting the snowflakes fall on his cloak, covering his footsteps with each step. This should be my last stop on this immortal clan land. I'm here to find the madman and see if he still remembers me. After this, there will be no regrets. Wang Lin was silent, lowering his head. The hat shielded his face from the snow, and he silently continued walking forward. He did not have to come to the ancestral city. He knew it was dangerous for him, yet he still came. In life, there are things one must do to avoid any regrets, things that must be done. Some pursue love with no regrets, some pursue friendship with no regrets, and others, for their families, will climb over cliffs and obstacles with their own hands, no matter the danger. Wang Lin valued emotions, family, love, friendship. These were things he cherished because, in his solitary life, they were few and far between. Losing one meant truly losing it all. The madman had helped him. He and the madman shared a bond that spanned an entire century in the dream Dao of the Vermilion Bird Star, during which Wang Lin could never leave. He had to go see his old friend, to see how he was doing now. With these thoughts, he arrived. The wind blew, the snow blocked his path, but as the day turned to dusk, Wang Lin arrived at the eastern gate of the ancestral city. Standing there, in comparison to the vast city, he was like an ant, small and insignificant. The city gate had no mortal guards. The ancestral city never needed them. With two grand heavenly venerables and the mysterious Dao sect, even the people of the ancient clan, except for the ancient path grand heavenly venerable, would rarely dare to approach. At dusk, the sky was a gray mist, and the snowstorm grew fiercer. In the crunch of snow beneath his feet, Wang Lin stepped through the eastern gate, entering the ancestral city. The powerful immortal aura immediately hit him as he stepped inside the city. This aura could shatter a mortal's body, but for cultivators, it was bearable. In fact, breathing in the air here could yield results far superior to those at famous mountains or sections. However, for Wang Lin, this celestial aura had no effect whatsoever. He no longer needed to forcefully absorb the immortal energy. Walking on the cobblestone streets of the city, Wang Lin looked around. In the wind and snow, there were still many people walking about the city, moving hurriedly. Even those who had cultivation power did not fly, but instead walked like ordinary people. Even dragons must coil in the ancestral city. Even tigers must lie in the ancestral city. Even the highest level heavenly venerables must abide by the rules here. Is that right? Wang Lin's eyes, hidden beneath his hat, gleamed coldly. Not including me. Outside this residence, there was complete silence, not a single person in sight, as though this place belonged to a forbidden zone of the Eastern District. Even from afar, people had to avoid it, unwilling to pass by. The snow had accumulated into a thick layer on the ground, shining silver, exuding a cold and sharp aura. The contrast with the silver light made the tightly shut doors of the residence seem to carry an oppressive aura. Two stone lions were stationed outside the gates, their eyes closed, yet a fierce and ominous energy seemed to swirl around them. It was as if, once their eyes opened, they would instantly turn furious and devour anyone who approached. Above the gates, there was a plaque with a red background and a green frame. On it were two golden characters. Li Manor. A terrifying arrow-like aura emanated from these two characters, causing the surrounding wind and snow to feel like they carried a deadly intent, swirling as they fell. Inside the manor, long corridors wound through the space, with many exquisite pavilions scattered throughout. Yet, at this moment, under the falling snow, the entire place remained eerily silent, devoid of human presence. Behind these corridors, there was a secret room made of blue stone. In the midst of the snow, the stone room was encased in silver, and although it was originally a place of stillness, the moment Wang Lin stepped into the Eastern District through the Eastern Gate, a humming sound of a bow suddenly rang out from within. In the extreme silence, The sound of the bow's hum was clear and resonated through the surroundings. Within the secret room sat an elderly man with his legs crossed. In front of him, there was a wooden rack, completely purple in color, looking extraordinary. The rack seemed oddly incomplete, as if something was missing. If a bow were placed on this rack, it would be whole. At that moment, the humming sound came from the purple wooden rack, where the blurry image of a bow appeared, continuously humming. The elderly man suddenly opened his eyes, and within them, arrow energy swirled as he stared intently at the purple rack. The ancestral bow rack is ringing. This can only happen when the ancestral bow appears nearby. Could it be that the ancestral bow has appeared close by? The elderly man was stunned for a moment, then took a deep breath. His right hand waved at the rack, and immediately, a purple light flashed, transforming into an arrow that shot out, heading straight toward the stone room's exit. Its speed was not fast, as if it was searching, then quickly disappeared. Li Shan, follow the arrow and see if there is any trace of the ancestral bow. The elderly man's gaze flickered, and he immediately shouted. As his voice echoed, two figures shot out from quiet pavilions on either side of the manor. They moved like smoke, quickly chasing after the purple arrow, vanishing into the distance. At this moment, Wang Lin walked through the eastern district, facing the wind and snow. The snow on the ground was thick, and Wang Lin looked at the city. This city's eastern district alone stretched endlessly, something Wang Lin had never seen in his life. If the eastern district was like this, one could only imagine the entire ancestral city. This place must be a rare city in the world. The passers-by hurried along, some noticing Wang Lin, but they only glanced at him briefly before moving on. Around him were many shops and mansions, all exuding rich, immortal energy, extremely extraordinary. The entire eastern district, under this immortal energy and in the wind and snow, felt strangely unfamiliar. Wang Lin, wearing a rain cloak, silently passed through the eastern district. As the moon began to rise, he entered a multi-story inn, took out some immortal stones, and chose a place to stay. This residence was not large, simple in design, but the immortal energy inside was even more concentrated than outside. Though it wasn't a cultivation cave, the walls and windows were sealed with formations, able to be activated to create a good place for seclusion. At this moment, Lu Jinbiao stood to the side, excitedly looking around. The golden venerable sea dragon, now the size of a finger, lay lazily on Lu Jinbiao's shoulder. The sea dragon and Lu Jinbiao had a great relationship, and Wang Lin was not surprised by this. After all, with Lu Jinbiao's abilities, it was very normal for him to achieve such a bond. As night fell, the wind and snow lessened. Lu Jinbiao stood by the window, watching the increasing number of passers-by. Especially in the distance, a brightly lit place seemed to be filled with the sound of music, which made his excitement grow even more. Master, this place is incredible. It's hardly different from a mortal city. Look over there. Lu Jinbiao pointed toward the brightly lit distance. I'd wager there are beauties to be found. Master, Su Liguo will never change his nature. If he's here, he's surely indulging in nightly revelry. To find him, that's exactly the sort of place we should search. Ahem. As for me, Lu Jinbiao, a man of integrity, well, how about this? I'll force myself to go and see if Su Liguo is there. Master, what do you think? Lu Jinbiao suppressed his excitement, looking toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin glanced at him, knowing full well Lu Jinbiao had no desire to stay cooped up. After a moment's thought, he nodded. That single nod made Lu Jinbiao tremble with excitement. Without delay, he led the sea dragon and hurried off. When they had gone, Wang Lin sat alone in his quarters, holding a wine jug, gazing at the snow outside the window. He drank one mouthful after another. Lian Daofei, do you still remember the events in the abode realm? The moon grew brighter, and the snowfall heavier. By then his jug was empty. With a quiet sigh, Wang Lin set it down, rose to his feet, and walked out. Donning a straw raincoat, he strolled alone under the shroud of night. Though it was the eastern district, there was little gloom here. From afar, music and laughter drifted on the wind, yet Wang Lin felt only solitude. He walked silently along the streets as passers-by dwindled, until, from a distance, only he remained, his figure alone against the storm of wind and snow. Why are you here?" Wang Lin stopped and spoke softly. The instant his words fell, a wave of aura pressure rippled out. The wind and snow froze in midair, forcing anyone hidden to reveal themselves. The void behind him twisted. Out of the distortion, a hazy figure emerged. Before him, a violet arrow hovered, whistling sharply as it shot straight at Wang Lin. The figure wasted no time. Forming hand seals, he conjured a bow, as if seized by two invisible hands. With a resonant hum, he drew and released. Another arrow flew, trailing the first toward Wang Lin. The Li clan. Wang Lin, still in his raincoat and bamboo hat, his face obscured, turned slowly. Without raising his head, he lifted his right hand and pointed. At once, the violet arrow disintegrated. The second arrow trembled violently before dissolving into nothingness. All of this happened in an instant. Wang Lin didn't even step back. Only a casual turn, only a single point of his finger. The archer's eyes flew wide with disbelief. He had unleashed his full strength, drawing upon the cultivation of a golden venerable, yet his attack had been dismissed as if it were nothing. Terror surged through him. His hair stood on end. Without hesitation, he staggered backward, spitting a mouthful of blood. He activated the blood escape technique, transforming into a streak of crimson light, fleeing thousands of miles in an instant. Had Wang Lin chosen to pursue, the man would never have escaped. But Wang Lin only stood there, watching the fleeing blood shadow, making no move to chase. So, the moment I entered the Eastern District, I caught the Li clan's attention. It must be because of the Li Guang bow in my body. They must have sensed its connection to their clan. Likely, it was only the bow they sensed, not my true identity. Otherwise, they wouldn't have sent just two golden venerables to trail me. Wang Lin bore no grudge against the Li clan, so he let it be. This will not happen again. His murmured words echoed across the land. Far away, the fleeing blood shadow staggered mid-flight. The phrase struck his mind like thunder, making him cough up another mouthful of blood, his expression filled with dread. What cultivation is that? Who is he? I must report this to the ancestor immediately. That man must be a heavenly supreme. No, more than that. Not an ordinary heavenly supreme. Damn it, Li Shan and I split up. He stayed to capture the man's companion while I tracked him. The Crimson Shadow's face twisted with alarm, as though sensing that the Li clan's actions this time might bring catastrophe upon them. Meanwhile, Wang Lin continued walking alone, cloaked in his straw raincoat and hat. He wandered the streets without aim, simply wanting the quiet solitude of the night. Unknowingly, he approached a brightly lit place, music and laughter spilling into the night air. From beneath the brim of his hat, his eyes flicked upward. The grand, palace-like building shone brilliantly, but he lowered his head, ready to leave. Then suddenly, he froze. His head snapped up, and his eyes flashed with a strange light, fixed on that resplendent palace. His gaze pierced through walls and distance, reaching the third floor of the palace pavilion. There, a man in crimson robes stood, wearing a smug expression. Wang Lin knew that face, that aura. Behind the red-robed man, several guards stood respectfully. Each one was a third-step powerhouse, their deference unmistakable. At this distance, I can finally sense his presence. Someone has left a seal on him. Wang Lin's gaze sharpened, but a smile of satisfaction curled at the corner of his mouth. Suligua. Wang Lin shook his head, about to enter the Palace of Lights, but suddenly his brows furrowed. He turned and looked into the distance, a flash of coldness flickering in his eyes. The Li manor has gone too far. Wang Lin's figure swayed, vanishing in an instant. Inside a distant palace tower, a man in red angrily threw his wine cup to the ground, pointing at several people ahead and shouting loudly. "Is this wine? Don't try to fool your old master Su. I know your family has 1,000-year-old wine. Bring it here now, or your Su family will regret it." The red-clad man looked tyrannical and fierce, completely unaware that just a moment ago, a gaze, seen from the outside, might have left him utterly confused. As the sea dragon rushed forward, its body was covered with wounds, especially its abdomen, where a black arrow had lodged halfway in. It emitted a destructive force, draining its vitality, causing dark energy to swirl around the sea dragon's body. On its back, Lu Jinbiao had an expression of extreme fury. His face was pale from the sudden arrow earlier. If not for the sea dragon taking the blow for him, he would have been dead by now. That arrow destroyed all of the sea dragon's abilities and pierced its abdomen. It's too powerful. Who wants to kill me? I've only tricked 7 people. Is that really worth it? Lu Jinbiao was furious but showed no fear. Damn it! How dare you provoke me? My master will never forgive you. He turned and shouted angrily. Behind the sea dragon, a shadow appeared, merging with the night. It was impossible to discern whether the figure was male or female, young or old. It moved faster than the sea dragon, closing the distance rapidly. The figure held a bow, and suddenly, an arrow was shot. The moment the arrow left, it seemed as if all the immortal energy in the surroundings had coalesced into it, rushing toward its target. From the moment Lu Jinbiao and the sea dragon began fleeing, only a few moments had passed, yet the pursuer had already released a second arrow. This arrow was filled with a cold, merciless killing intent, as if it was meant to destroy both the sea dragon and Lu Jinbiao on its back. As the arrow neared, Lu Jinbiao let out a low growl, forming hand seals to resist. The sea dragon beneath him also roared as waves of energy spread out in all directions. The pursuer's lips curled into a cruel smile. Once this arrow was released, few would be able to resist, even among cultivators of the same rank. This arrow would surely kill the sea dragon and severely wound the small cultivator on its back. Capturing him alive would be a great accomplishment. However, just as he prepared to savor his success, his smile froze. His pupils contracted, replaced by sheer horror. Before the sea dragon and Lu Jinbiao, a figure suddenly appeared out of nowhere, wearing a raincoat and a conical hat. The appearance of this figure was so abrupt that it seemed to have forced itself into his line of sight. After appearing, the figure didn't strike. Instead, it simply looked up, revealing its eyes under the conical hat. In the instant that golden light flashed from its eyes, the arrow that had been speeding toward them shattered in midair, utterly destroyed. The pursuer's mind exploded. His body trembled, and as his form emerged from the shadows, his face turned pale. The moment he locked eyes with the figure, he felt as though 1,000 swords were rushing toward him. He realized he stood no chance at all. His mind roared, and as he coughed up blood, his body tumbled and fell into the snow, creating a flurry of snowflakes. Before losing consciousness, he was engulfed by an overwhelming fear. The gaze of the figure had instilled a terror unlike anything he had ever felt, surpassing even his family's current master and ancestor. Master, you've finally arrived. He's trying to kill me. The sea dragon is hurt. Lu Jinbiao shouted excitedly when he saw Wang Lin. At that moment, the sea dragon suddenly turned, its eyes filled with killing intent as it fixed its gaze on the unmoving figure in the distance. Wang Lin raised his right hand and swept it over the sea dragon's head. Immediately, the sea dragon's body shuddered, and the black energy surrounding it was swept away like a fierce wind, dissipating into nothing. The arrow lodged in its abdomen shot out, and the wound quickly healed. The black arrow that had flown out was summoned into Wang Lin's hand. He glanced at it before crushing it into ash, which was swept away by the wind and snow. The Li manor has gone too far. Wang Lin's expression remained calm as he spoke slowly. The Li manor? Master, do you know who they are? Is it not because I exposed their lies? Lu Jinbiao paused. Then his anger turned into a sense of grievance as he pitifully looked at Wang Lin. Come, follow me to the Li manor. Wang Lin's expression remained calm as he approached the motionless figure lying not far away. Without any visible gesture from him, the man's body floated up strangely, revealing his face. A middle-aged man, eyes shut tight, skin ashen like paper, utterly unconscious. With his divine sense focused, Wang Lin merged it into the man's crown of the head, extracted the information he needed, and then, with a sweep of his wide sleeve, gathered the sea dragon, Lu Jinbiao, and the unconscious man. In an instant, they vanished without a trace. When they reappeared, they were deep within the eastern district, outside a silent and desolate estate. Knock on the door. Have the master come out to see me, Wang Lin said slowly, his gaze fixed on the characters carved above the gate. Li manor. Got it. Lu Jinbiao's spirits lifted. Nothing thrilled him more than this kind of task. Rolling up his sleeves, he strode toward the tightly shut gates of the manor. As he passed between the two stone lions standing guard, neither stirred, appearing no different from ordinary decorations outside any worldly mansion. Unbothered, Lu Jinbiao swaggered up to the main door. His posture at that moment was almost identical to another man who had come here over a year ago. Even his expression carried the same insolent air. At the gate, Lu Jinbiao lifted his foot and delivered a heavy kick, leaving behind a snow-marked footprint as he bellowed. "Huh, my master has arrived. Why aren't you out here to greet him?" His words differed by only a few syllables from those shouted by the red-clad youth who had once come here before. Had that youth been present to witness this scene, he would surely have been shaken. Yet there was a difference. When Su Ligua had kicked this very door, it hadn't budged an inch. But Lu Jinbiao's strike now made the massive gate roar violently as it swung inward, blown wide open by a single kick. The sight stunned Lu Jinbiao. He scrambled back with all speed, startled, muttering to himself that he didn't have that kind of power. The door must simply have been too weak. Wang Lin regarded the open gate with his usual composure. After waiting a moment, he shook his head with a faint smile. Since the master will not come out, then Wang shall enter uninvited. With a flick of his right hand, the unconscious man floating beside him was flung through the doorway. Then Wang Lin stepped forward calmly. But as he passed the two stone lions, their eyes snapped open, and they let out a thunderous, earth-shaking roar. The sound echoed far and wide, engulfing much of the eastern district. Every street and courtyard touched by that roar fell into instant silence. No voices, no music, only stillness. From the stone lions themselves burst forth two colossal phantoms, each hundreds of feet tall. Their massive lion forms coalesced in midair, roaring as they charged straight at Wang Lin. Yet Wang Lin did not so much as lift his head. Cloaked in his straw raincoat and conical hat, he walked on toward the open gates. The phantoms closed in, 10 paces away, when suddenly their roars twisted into wails of agony. Like mist scattered by a violent gale, they dissolved into nothingness before Wang Lin's advance. A cracking sound rang out. The stone lions by the gate split apart, shattering into rubble. Wang Lin walked forward without pause. Behind him, Lu Jinbiao gasped sharply, but soon his eyes gleamed with excitement. The stronger Wang Lin was, the more he could swagger in borrowed might, untouchable by others. The sea dragon, however, looked on with deep reverence, awe shining in his eyes. Just as Wang Lin's right foot stepped across the threshold of Li Manor, a sudden chorus of sharp whistles split the air. From within the estate, countless figures emerged in unison. Each drew a bow with their left hand, right hand pulling taut the string to full moon, and released. Hundreds of arrows screamed forth, converging upon Wang Lin at the gate. Each carried immense power, and together they merged into a storm of arrows. For a fleeting instant, their arrangement even formed the outline of a formation. The array blazed with endless crimson light, exuding a killing intent so fierce it seemed to shake heaven and earth as it descended upon Wang Lin. His stride did not falter. Raising his right hand mid-step, he swept it outward. At once, a colossal handprint materialized before him, every line of its palm etched with striking clarity. In the blink of an eye, it collided with the arrow formation. The sky shook with deafening thunder as the formation collapsed. The great handprint dimmed, then dissolved as Wang Lin walked straight through it, stepping fully into Li Manor. To think they managed, in a single instant, to condense power on par with the sixth layer Heavenly Supreme. Still clad in his straw coat and conical hat, Wang Lin advanced step by step into the manor. Among the hundreds of figures, men and women alike, their faces turned pale with shock, eyes filled with disbelief, their expressions steeped in fear. They had absolute confidence in their combined strike. Even a Heavenly Supreme would struggle to withstand it. Yet this man before them had dispersed their killing blow with nothing more than a flick of his sleeve. As the members of Li Manor stood dumbfounded, dread rising in their hearts, 9 arrows suddenly shot forth from within the manor, each from a different position. The moment they were loosed, they exploded apart, splintering into hundreds of arrow shards, no weaker than the united strike of the crowd just moments ago. 9 arrows, simultaneous detonation. Its force rivaled the full might of the original arrow formation's ninefold strike. Like an endless arrow rain, it surged forth, a raging arrow storm sweeping across the skies. It condensed into the form of a massive hand, clawing down toward Wang Lin, as if the instant it seized him, he would suffer physical and spiritual annihilation. But Wang Lin's steps never faltered. He merely lifted his head, extended his right hand, and pointed forward. With that single gesture, heaven and earth froze. All things halted in an instant. The illusory arrow rain hand stopped dead before him, suspended in the air. Wang Lin walked forward calmly, passing beneath it. The storm of arrows remained motionless, locked in the void. The sight terrified Lu Jinbiao. For a moment he stood frozen, scalp prickling as though needles stabbed his skin. Glancing at the suspended arrow rain before him, he hastily backed away, fearing it might suddenly erupt back to life and tear him to shreds.